All right, well, we can get started. Good evening, everyone. I'm so happy you're here with us tonight for our Safe and Just Michigan annual meeting. I'm Anna Cohn, Board President of Safe and Just Michigan, and I want to start with a bit of gratitude. Thank you. Thank all of you for joining us here tonight. Thank you for caring about and investing in our work. Thank you for believing in us as we withstand the storms of political and financial uncertainty. And thank you for being part of the collective voice that strives to see real change in our criminal legal system. And thank you for continuing to join forces with us as we push for evidence-based policies that reduce harm, strengthen community safety, and promote real healing. This past year has brought some unique challenges, but none we couldn't handle. Even with the ups and downs in legislation, Safe and Just Michigan has stayed a strong, trusted, reliable voice for the criminal legal system reform. And even if you're not seeing big shifts yet at the policy level, I assure you the impact of our team's work is being felt in every corner of Michigan. Just to give you one example, we've hosted over 20 expungement fairs across the state in less than a year. That means we've helped nearly 5,000 people take steps towards clearing their records and getting a fresh start. And that's just one of the many projects we're proud to lead. You'll hear more about these incredible efforts as the night goes on. Of course, none of what we do would be possible without the phenomenal team at Safe and Just Michigan. You all keep everything running with so much heart and dedication. Huge thanks to our fearless leaders, John Cooper, Kate McCracken, and Ken Nixon, and to our frontline warriors, Kamau Sandiford, Cassie LaRue, Barbara Wieland, and our wonderful Veronica French. With that, I'm going to turn it over to John Cooper, our Executive Director. John?
Good evening, and thanks for joining us for Safe and Just Michigan's annual membership meeting. This meeting is required by Michigan nonprofit law and our bylaws. We use it primarily to do board elections, but we also use it to update our members about our work over the past year and what to expect going forward. I'd like to begin by thanking our staff for all their hard work this past year. It's a challenging time to advocate for a less punitive criminal legal system, and I've appreciated the patience, positivity, and resolve that you all brought to work every day. Our work is a marathon, not a sprint, and it helps a lot to run the race with the right group of people. I'd also like to thank our board. Serving on a nonprofit board can be a mundane, thankless undertaking, and our board members are all busy people with their own careers. Yet they are generous with all their time and dedicated to our organization, our staff, and our work. So thanks to our board for your ongoing commitment and support. I'd also like to thank our partners in the work, who are too many to name. Most of our policy advocacy and all our expungement fairs are collaborative efforts with partners who help support, expand, and elevate our work. So we think it's important to acknowledge and thank our partners as well. Finally, we want to thank our funders and supporters, including you. Our funders, donors, volunteers, and other supporters literally make our work possible, and we are incredibly grateful for your support. It is a privilege to do this work, and we are so grateful that you chose to support us and the work that we do at Safe and Just Michigan. Thank you. And with that, I want to give you all a brief update on our policy work. 2025, as Anna, I think, alluded, has been a slow and frustrating year. Republicans took control of the Michigan State House in the last November's election and elected Representative Matt Hall, a known opponent of criminal justice reform, as Speaker. Upon taking office in January, Speaker Hall held a press conference to announce that he would not move bills on a number of our priority issues, including bail reform, second look, ending juvenile life without parole, creating productivity credits, and restoring good time. Since January, the legislature has been gridlocked. A historically low number of bills have passed. I think the number was 6 going into the summer, which is ridiculous. The highest number prior to that on record that I'm aware of was 30. Like they have gotten nothing done. And the speaker manufactured a crisis with the budget that you all may have observed and experienced. And then people were so exhausted by the budget process, which dragged into October, that they've basically taken the entire fall off. There's going to be 2 weeks of session in the House in December. They're currently on a 3-week break, and they took most of October off. It's just historically unproductive. It's not a service to the people of this state, and I think it should be more of a scandal than it is, frankly. However, things are starting to sort of loosen up for the future. We have had a lot of productive conversations with potential bill sponsors over the last 6 weeks, basically since the budget was resolved. And I think we're going to get hearings in January on a number of these issues. And the hope is that we can have a productive sort of first 6 months of next year before the budget process again takes over and everybody leaves to go campaign. Because in election years, that's typically what happens is they leave to go campaign in June and don't really do anything until after the election in November. So our window is really kind of January through May. Anyhow, sort of our 4 sort of top legislative priorities, I'll just give you quick updates. The first is removing conviction-based barriers to employment in the healthcare industry. This is something we've been trying to move for a couple years, and finally it looks like that's going to happen. We've had really productive conversations with Rep. Leitner's office. She's the chair of House Judiciary Committee. She's an influential Republican in the House, and her staff has told us that they do not see any reason why this would run into any political resistance. They're just looking for the right time to run it. So we expect these bills to be introduced late this year or early next, and I would expect them to move relatively quickly in 26 once we finally get them in. Similarly, we have bills to expand the clean slate law to cover non-conviction records in a couple different ways. So right now, only some criminal charges that have been dismissed are automatically sealed, and many old charges that prosecutors have not acted on are just remain pending indefinitely. So we have bills that would ensure that all charges dismissed on the merits are automatically sealed right away, and that charges that are left pending for whatever reason by prosecutors get automatically sealed once the statute of limitations is run. That's 6 years for a criminal case, but right now there's tens of thousands of cases older than that are just sitting on people's records, and that means they're showing up as pending charges on background checks, and they're blocking other charges from that person's record from being automatically sealed under the clean slate law. So cleaning those up, creating a legal mechanism to clean those up is really important. And we've had very productive conversations with Rep. Leitner's office on those bills as well, and we're hoping to see those introduced in January. The third issue I want to highlight is reforming the habitual sentencing statute. Michigan has one of the broadest habitual sentencing laws in the country, and we are proposing several changes to limit misuse of it, including restoring transactional counting of prior convictions. Until 2008, when you were charged with 3 crimes or 4 crimes or whatever out of a single incident, those were counted as a single conviction for purposes of the habitual statute. The Michigan Supreme Court said every single charge, even if it was all out of a single incident, could be counted separately for purposes of habitual charging. And this leads to really unfair results that are inconsistent with the word habitual, because you can't do something once habitually. Anyway. The other thing two other things we want to do is establish a 10-year look back for the use of prior felonies, because under current law, if you have a 40-year-old charge, you're good for 40 years, and then you get another felony charge. That 40-year-old charge can be counted as a habitual criminal act. So again, doesn't line up with the plain use of the word habitual, but doesn't matter under current law. Finally, there's a 25-year mandatory minimum sentence that's triggered for fourth habitual charges. And we just don't believe in mandatory minimums, so we're proposing to eliminate that as well. The final issue is another one you've probably heard me talk about before. Department of Corrections currently charges incarcerated people $5 to see a doctor or a dentist or an optometrist for non-emergency purposes. $5 is a lot of money for people who are incarcerated and their families, and this is deterring people from seeking medical care when they really should. It's just not a good idea. This kicks the can down the road and creates acute situations that don't need to happen and are much more expensive than need to be. So we're hoping to pass a bill. It's called SB 318. Sylvia Santana sponsors it. That would just simply eliminate the copays. Just a few other things to note. We've been working to help set up the Michigan Sentencing Commission, which Governor Whitmer signed into law earlier this year, and also to ensure that is funded appropriately. These efforts resulted in $750,000 appropriation in the budget, and that is going to allow the commission to hire staff, which is really exciting because the last time we had a commission that was interested in criminal justice policy, they only ever got one staffer, and it wasn't able to do what it should have been able to do. So we're excited about that. We're also part of numerous coalitions working on other issues that are important to us, even those issues that Speaker Hall has said are dead in the short term. That was his word, not mine. We will keep you posted on all these campaigns through our newsletter and social media accounts. Thank you. And next, I'm pleased to introduce Kamau Sandiford, SJM's Clean Slate Program Manager.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, John. As John mentioned, I'm the Clean Slate Program Manager at Safe and Just Michigan. I believe Anna touched on this as well. We've been busy as far as the expungement fairs have been concerned. Specifically, we've done about 30 expungement fairs this year, and we've assisted over 6,000 people. That's in large part to the work that we've done in terms of cultivating relationships with various partners across the state. Specifically, the Michigan Attorney General's office, the state police, all of the various legal aid organizations across the state. We truly couldn't have done this work without their assistance. So we're truly grateful, and we hope that they continue to support us in 2026. In addition to the Clean Slate work, we've also tried to delve into some license restoration work as well. Earlier this year, we released a report. It was called Driving on a Suspended Livelihood. In that report, we identified some issues with respect to the license restoration process, which there were many, as you can imagine. In drafting that report, we leaned on the experience of some of our partners, specifically the Secretary of State and the Detroit Center for Justice. They were extremely helpful in helping us draft that report. Some of the recommendations from that report include requiring courts to perform an ability to pay assessment. So essentially, what we found is that some people who are indigent, who cannot pay fines or fees, are being incarcerated for being essentially indigent. And obviously, we find that to be unjust in many respects. And so we like the courts to at least perform and to be able to perform an ability to pay assessment before making that determination as to whether or not that person should be incarcerated or not. In addition to that, we've also seen how fees can be stacked on to individuals' records. So essentially what happens is somebody comes in on a driving offense, and then they get fees on fees on fees stacked up against each other, and it gets to the point where they're unable to pay those fees. And so we find that removing at least some layers of those fees would at least assist those people in terms of helping them be in a better position to pay, those fees moving forward as well. One of the other issues that was brought to our attention, and this was one of the things that we found in attending numerous license restoration clinics that are held across the state, are the issue of hearing officers. Specifically, these hearing officers have broad discretionary powers when it comes to choosing whether or not a license should be restored. So for a lot of people who have had their license revoked as a result of a DUI or multiple DUIs, they have to go in front of a hearing officer at the Secretary of State And what we found is that on a number of occasions, people are denied, even though they've gone extensive period of time without having any additional DUI offenses on their record. And that's in large part due to the broad discretionary powers that we feel that the law bestows upon these hearing officers. So we'd like to see that limited in some respect moving forward, and that's kind of what the report touches on as well. As John mentioned, even with the successes that we've seen with the clean slate law, we've identified some rooms for improvement, specifically with non-conviction records. So obviously in Michigan, you can expunge a conviction from your record, but there isn't necessarily a mechanism in place that allows you to expunge an arrest or charge that did not result in a conviction. And this can obviously be an impediment to housing and employment, just like a conviction would be. And what we found is that people have seen issues where they've been denied certain privileges as a result of having these non-convictions on their record. And so we hope in 2026, we hope to facilitate the introduction of two bills that would allow for the automatic expungement of those non-conviction records. All right, so I think that's it for me. I will pass it on to my colleague Cassie, who will touch on the fines and fees work that she's been doing this past year. I think Cassie is
John, I think Cassie's having some technical troubles. Do you mind speaking
okay.
that
No,
out?
I don't mind. So yeah, Cassie did a terrific job. She wrote a report on the various fees that people are charged by Department of Corrections. And this is really a system where it's hard to get any sort of service without paying a fee. And the copays are just one example in the report, but there's fees when someone wants to send you money. And people earn very little money in prison. So to be sent money, there's a service charge or finance charge for that, $3-ish for $50, etc. There you get charged 25 cents to send an email. It's called an electronic stamp that you have to buy. All the food and clothes and commissary are marked up, and there's a 19% surcharge that's imposed on top of that. There are situations in which the Attorney General's office actually files lawsuits to recover the costs of incarcerating someone. This does not happen often, but if someone in prison has a lot of money, they may get sued by the state of Michigan. There's a statute that was passed in the 80s that authorized that, and my understanding is there's been literally hundreds of suits brought by the state just to take money away from people for ostensibly their costs of incarceration. So it's a very good report, and I think Kate's going to put it in the chat. Yeah, debtors in prison, and Cassie did terrific work on it. It was the basis for the copays campaign that we're working on now, and we anticipate it being the basis of future campaigns as well. We are also hoping to work in the future on county jails, because many of the same issues apply to county jails, particularly around phone fees, but also pay to stay. The state of Michigan authorizes county jails to collect up to $60 a day from people who are incarcerated there, and many counties do this. So you get a 30-day jail sentence, and you can walk out of jail with an $1,800 bill from the county, and it's just extremely exploitative and counterproductive. And we would love to shine a light on those things and try and mobilize people to end these practices. So with that, I'll hand it off to Ken.
Good evening, Good evening, everybody. I hope you can hear me. Um, I want to start off by saying that I am the Director of Outreach and Community Partnerships for Safe and Just Michigan. Briefly, just want to speak about the things that we've been able to do and the people that we've been able to connect with this year. We have traversed across the state back and forth in many different jurisdictions. Um, Literally talking to and being a part of different community events in different neighborhoods, different communities, different areas that uh, are connecting with the people was the goal this year. We had great opportunities in different locations that we probably normally wouldn't involve ourselves in, being a part of different films and having conversations with people everywhere from the community to our legislators and hospital staff, and just enjoying bringing SJM outside to the community and talking to people about the things that we do and the things that we work on and the things that we are looking forward to working on in the future. As we connected with people, we heard lots of different feedback about the things that we've worked on, how beneficial it's been to the community and people that our policies and the things that we've been able to change have touched, and where we can get better. That has been a huge learning lesson for us, and we heard it all. We took it in, and we've made the adjustments as we move forward. Um, as we go into next year, we are looking to do even more things and connect with even more people. We are looking to do things in a new way as we bring in 2026, and looking forward to a lot of fun. You should expect to see a lot of SJM across the state of Michigan. Uh, this blue will be everywhere as we move into the new year. As we get ready to move into the next phase of tonight's meeting, we have some board elections. In these board elections, before we begin, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge our outgoing board member, Dr. Jennifer Kobina Dungy. She served on our board since October of 2019 and assumed a leadership role as our board treasurer for many years. She's an expert on the public's response to police use of force, reentry, and recidivism. Her knowledge and insight was invaluable to SJM. We want to thank her for her service, and we look forward to working with her in the years to come. Now it is time to turn to our board elections. As a guest this evening, we consider you a member of our organization. This allows you to vote in our board elections. We have 2 individuals currently on our board who are seeking re-election for a 3-year term, and 2 individuals up for election for the first time. Our full board approved this slate of candidates at our June 26, 2025 board meeting. For our virtual audience, a poll will be launched to allow you to vote yes or no for these nominations. You can find the poll tab on the right of your screen next to the chat box. Hopefully everybody can see the poll right now. Our first person is Anna Cohen. Anna is seeking re-election to our board for a 3-year term. She has served on our board since 2014 and is our current board president. We are grateful for her dedicated and unwavering leadership as our board president. She's also the Reentry Project Supervisor at the State Appellate Defender's Office. She works tirelessly to serve and support men and women who have served long sentences come home in a positive and productive manner. Please vote yes or no for Anna Cohen. Our next board member that is seeking re-election is Monica Janer. Monica Janer is seeking re-election to a 3-year term. She has also served on our board since 2013. She's the program director for Arrow at Northwest Initiative in Lansing. In this role, she advocates on behalf of formerly incarcerated people and their families and supports them as they address challenges upon re-entering the community. Arrow operates with the conviction that every person in the community is a valuable resource. Please vote yes or no for Anna Cole. For Monica Janger. The first of the two new candidates is Margaret Allen. Margaret is seeking election to our board for a 3-year term. Margaret is an accomplished leader with more than 15 years of experience spearheading mission-aligned, equity-centered initiatives across workforce development, education, and nonprofit sectors. Across her career, Margaret has demonstrated her ability to build cross-sector partnerships, drive institutional growth, and elevate underrepresented voices through innovative and scalable programs. She is currently the Director of National Workforce Programs at Trinity Health. Before that, Margaret served as the Executive Director of Urban Alliance Detroit. Please vote yes or no for Margaret Allen. Our last of 4 candidates and seeking election to our board is Jonathan Sachs. Jonathan is seeking election to our board for a 3-year term. Jonathan is an experienced trial and appellate attorney with a focus on criminal defense. Currently, he serves as on counsel at Salvatore Prescott Porter & Porter. Jonathan served as director of Michigan State Appellate Defender's Office prior. Under his leadership, SATO doubled in size to include a permanent juvenile lifer unit, litigation, mitigation, and finance support for the Michigan Appellate Assigned Counsel System, the establishment of youth appellate defense, and permanent state-funded project reentry and wrongful conviction units. Prior to his leadership at SATO, Jonathan served as the first executive director of the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission. He previously served on SJM's board, and we welcome his return to this role where he will operate as secretary of the Executive Steering Committee. Please vote yes or no for Jonathan Sachs. Do I give the results?
Yes. Yes, Ken.
I don't see them.
Maybe Veronica can help.
Help, 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 help.
Everyone was reelected with all yeses.
Oh, well, thank you everybody for participating this evening, and we appreciate it. And let's begin our new year with a new slate of board members. And we appreciate all the work that all of you have put in tonight. And I will pass it on to, I think, Kate, or yeah, John, my bad. Anna?
To me, yes.
Oh.
So first of all,
Lots of moving parts.
Thank you, Ken. We often have a board member do our elections, but Ken was gracious enough to step in. So on behalf of Monica and I want to thank you for your continued trust. We appreciate it very much. I'm very proud to be part of this team. So tonight we've heard a lot in a short period of time, which is always great. I'm going to give you a few minutes of your evening back. Tonight we've heard a lot about how Safe and Just continues to impact many lives, many communities, and important legislative work. But as we know all too well, criminal legal system reform takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of patience, grace, and of course, organizational capacity and stability. That's where you come in. If you believe in second chances, in evidence-based reform, and in a safer and more just Michigan, we need your help to keep this momentum going. In our chat box, there is a link to donate to Safe and Just Michigan. I hope you'll consider making a contribution of whatever amount is meaningful to you as we soldier on. Every dollar you give fuels another expungement fair, supports more community education, and helps us advocate for smarter and more equitable laws. And our wonderful board of directors is putting the effort in as well. We'll be a 100% giving board by the end of the calendar year. Thank you to this dedicated board who has shown up consistently. We're stronger than ever, especially with our latest additions, Margaret Allen and Jonathan Sachs, who are just amazing human beings. Thank you. With that, I want to reiterate my appreciation for your presence tonight. At this time, John and I will stick around and be happy to address any questions you may have or any topics you'd like to bring up. And again, thank you for your support. If I don't see you soon, I hope you have a wonderful and joyous holiday season. Thank you again for joining us. If you do have questions you would like to share, feel free to put them in the chat box and we will address them as they arise.
Anna, I do got a question real quick.
Sure,
Okay.
yeah.
To John, you made reference to, I think, 6 separate bills. And I think I missed the first one, removing the conviction for something. I think I missed that one.
Yeah,
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, this is there's a law that says you can't work at a hospital if you have a felony on your record. There's a super long waiting period attached to it, and there's like 400,000 to 500,000 people in Michigan that are excluded from working in hospitals, nursing homes, home care, or inpatient psychiatric facilities by this law. A similar law was also put into Michigan's Medicaid provider eligibility criteria. So even for people who are doing outpatient work, if you've got a felony, you can't be a peer support, which is really stupid because a lot of people go to social work school to be peer supports because of their experience in the criminal justice system with substance use disorder, and it's just like these exclusions were put in by bureaucrats that were not thinking about the impacts of these decisions. They were people who within HHS were like, well, the Medicaid people, I want to really show them I'm being responsible with the federal dollars we're getting, and this is how I'll do it. So it's just really unfortunate, short-sighted stuff that we are being forced to unwind now because the state bureaucracy decided to do this, basically. And I will tell you, I had a meeting with the Medicaid side of DHHS on this issue when they were rolling it out about 7 years ago. And he just told me, he's like, well, my job is to care about Medicaid. My job isn't to care about these other things. That's just the attitude. So, so we're really excited to work on that. And this is actually something that Margaret Allen knows a lot about and cares a lot about. And we're excited. She's joining the board for that reason as well.
All right. Thanks, John.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other questions this evening before we wrap up? Well, thank you all again for participating and being here. And we're always available. If you ever do have questions that arise, you can always reach out to our wonderful team. And we look forward to seeing you at our next event. Take care, everybody.